On the whole, people who are editing can only think of foreign, that's one or two things at a time. After that, it gets really, really hard to think that there's more than two events happening. So that's mostly it. So you have to get onto that.
Yeah.
Onto that surf.
The
you have to surf
bandwagon.
the wave that's going.
Yeah.
And I know that to an extent it's the same as somewhere like the ABC, which is a vast, is sort of a vast continent. Like our newspaper, what you have to do is if you're someone like me, you have to actually act like I'm someone who's producing a product, and I have to go to various store owners and beg them to try to take my product or tailor my product for that particular store owner. So, I can't get something run in features, so I'll cut it down and try and get it in world commentary and add some comment into it. Or I'll try and increase the length of it and put it into Inquirer for Saturday. And so you just keep on knocking at different doors and see if you can get it run. So that's really what happens to me.
You have to be
I can be published everywhere.
Yeah.
I can get published anywhere in the paper. But so I have to be a salesman. I have to pitch for what I'm working on and try to persuade them to why it's of interest to readers.
And I noticed that there's an example in the story you did today, because you start with this week Julia Gillard jets away from her travails with the carbon tax. So you've sort of hooked in on the big story of the month or week or year or whatever, and now I'm going to talk about Asia.
Oh yeah, if I'd started the story about
with Hu Jintao, they'd all go
issues in Asia. Yeah, it wouldn't
who's
really,
Hu Jintao again?
Yeah, that's right. So it's necessary to work that way, unfortunately. And
so there's
when you look at our media, there's my friend Mark Baker at who's deputy editor of The Age is about the only person I can think of in major media who's actually worked and lived overseas. Mark's a very experienced foreign correspondent. I doff my hat to him. But apart from him, when you look round, there's no one I can think of who's
in the management, you mean?
In a senior role, and this is part of the problem. In our own newspaper, we have a guy, Nick Cater, who edits our weekend paper. I often find him, simpatico. I can get a run with him because he's worked in Hong Kong, he's worked in Asia, so he's got an idea. There's a room for discussion, but otherwise, you really have to start with the domestic and then lead them by the hand into Asia. Imagine. Or I'm also writing about the Pacific, into the Pacific Islands.